Good evening. I want to thank our visitors. Thank you for choosing to be here with us this afternoon. I should say good afternoon, not evening. I want us to start off with that verse. By the way, the lesson from this morning and this lesson was one whole lesson that I presented at PTP. I didn't think you wanted me to preach a 45-minute sermon this morning. So this is part two in connection to this morning. And I wanted to start off with what Jesus said, as was read for us there in John chapter 4. If you remember, Jesus had a conversation with the Samaritan woman at the well. And his disciples, when he went through Samaria, the beginning of that chapter, it says that disciples went to look for food, right? So to bring back food. And they came back, and Jesus was talking to this woman. And they were talking amongst themselves. Did anyone bring food for him? Right. And then prior to this verse, Jesus said that my food or my meat is to do the will of him who sent me. And then he said this, do you not say that there are still 4 months? Then comes the harvest. He said, behold, I say to you, lift up your eyes and look at the fields, for they are already white for the harvest. There is some thought among the community of believers, right? So I'm not just mentioning the Lord's church, but I'm talking about the community of believers, people that believe in God. There are those who have drawn the conclusion that no one is interested in the gospel. Here's another one. There are those who have drawn the conclusion that young people are not interested in the gospel. Or you might hear them say something like, we're losing our young people. Young people are leaving the faith, which happens. But I think we have to address why they are leaving the faith, right? We have to spend time and invest time in them. We have to teach them, just like we teach adults the truth. We have to teach the children the truth, right? The foundational truths, so that they know how to think and how to reason, so that they know what to believe in. So when I think about what Jesus said, these thoughts come to mind as I dive into this lesson. Do not say that no one is interested in the gospel. Do not say that young people are not interested in the gospel. Do not say you cannot find someone who is interested in the gospel. That is simply not true, right? That is not true. Jesus said there are people who are searching. He says, look at the fields. There are countless souls waiting for someone to reach them, waiting for someone to say, hey, would you like to worship with me? Hey, would you like to study the Bible with me? There are people who are interested. And if we have a challenge, and this is one of the challenges in evangelism, is finding people. And if we don't find those who are interested, it could be we're not looking hard enough. It could be where our search is narrow. It could be, in connection to the lesson this morning, it could be instead of us being all things to all men, we want men to be all things to us, which is reverse. Instead of me making sacrifices so I can help someone understand the gospel, maybe we expect people to make the sacrifices if they want to understand the gospel. All right. And so this lesson is titled Things You Can Do to Produce Contacts. So very practical this evening. Things that I know I have done and I know have worked for me. Maybe you've done it, didn't work for you, but I want to give you some pointers. Things you can do. The very core of this has to do with being a Christian, right? It has to do with being the salt and the light. We sang the song, Send the Light, right? Sometimes we say, send the light, as if the light is, Like we're not connected, we'll send it over there. Right? Jesus said, you are the light. I'm sending you. Right? He is sending us. We are the light. And you might say, well, Jesus is the light. Yes, he is the light. We are the light because of him. Right? We are the light through him and because of him and for him and with him. Go back to Matthew chapter 5, beginning in verse 13 through 16. Several important things here for us. We're familiar with this text. All right. One might say, well, this is somewhat the elementary principles of our faith. Easy to understand what is being said, difficult to put it into practice, right? Where the rubber meets the road. Jesus said, you are the salt of the earth, but if the salt loses its flavor, how shall it be seasoned? It is then good for nothing but to be thrown out and trampled underfoot by men. I want to pause there and let's talk about salt, right? Salt is a very interesting element, and deployed here by Jesus has a lot of meaning in connection to it being salt. We're described as the salt, as the season, right? Or the seasoning. Salt makes a difference. Would you agree? Salt makes a difference. And in regards to food, yes, definitely. All right, we mentioned that this morning, right? If you grill some steaks, please put some salt on it. If you want me to eat a nice steak, you would put some salt on it. It makes a difference. I want you to think about your life. And I think about my life, right? In what areas of my life am I making a difference? All right. Do I make a difference at work? If all of a sudden I'm sick and I'm not there, what happens at the workplace? Right? Are there people there counting on me for some of the good in the workplace? Right? Salt makes a difference, right, in regards to taste. And that's the concept. You are the salt. If there's a difference in the community, in your family, let me back up. If there's a difference in your family, in your community, in your congregation, in your government, and that difference has anything to do with what is good, it is because you are there. Right? You're supposed to be that difference. You and I are supposed to be good. All right. So we ask ourselves that question: what difference am I making where I'm at, where God has placed me? Right. I heard a sister in one occasion shared with me that one of the friends she's trying to reach, she just felt like she is not equipped to handle some of the baggage that comes with the friend. Right. And meaning there's a lot of trouble and baggage that has happened in this person's life. And she just felt like she's not up for it. Having deal with her own similar experience, she just felt like I don't want to deal with this. Right. And I share with her, have you ever thought of it this way? That maybe you're in her life so you can help her deal with the baggage, right? Then maybe this person has opened up to you about their troubles, about their difficulties, about their challenge, because they see something in you that tells them this person can help me, right? We have to think that way. We run into our own problems. Yes, we have our own problems. By all means, we handle it, or we bring the community in to help us handle it. But there are people in the world that have problems that you already overcame, problems that you already experienced and dealt with, and you can level with them and connect with them, right? Remember, this lesson is not about baptizing somebody. That's not what this lesson is. This lesson is about meeting people. It's about creating a contact. We're not even talking Bible study. We're just talking about being a good person to somebody. That's what this lesson focuses on. Another thing about salt preserves things. Right? You go to countries, third world countries where some families can't afford refrigeration. What they do is they'll dry their meat and slap some salt on it to keep it, and it will make it last. It has some preserving properties to it. And you think about Sodom and Gomorrah. When Abraham pleaded with God, right? God, if there are 50 people, 50 righteous in Sodom and Gomorrah, would you spare the city? If there are 50, I will spare the city, God said. Got it. Let me ask you again. How about 40? If there are 40, I'll spare the city. 30, I'll spare the city. All the way down, he said, one more time, God, if I may ask you, if there are 10 righteous people in Sodom and Gomorrah, would you destroy the city? God said, what? If there are 10 righteous, I will not destroy the city. What happened, church? It was destroyed. Why? There weren't 10 righteous. Can you think about that? Right? Had there been 10, would the city be preserved? Yes. Right? Christians are the reason why this nation has not yet faced its doom. I believe that. I truly believe that. The Bible says righteousness exalts a nation. Maybe God has not punished America yet because there are the righteous in America who are preserving their community. Well, let me back up. Preserving their family, their community, their church, their government, right? I'm so encouraged when I went to PTP to learn about several brethren that are in some of the highest offices in the nation. They are involved in the politics. They are fighting for what is right. That's a good thing, isn't it? And through their efforts, life can be preserved. Goodness can be preserved. Saneness can be preserved. I don't know about you, but our country, whew. I mean, just on the news, there was another attempt I heard. All right. Salt preserves. Another thing about salt is that it causes one to thirst. You eat enough salt or you swim in our ocean long enough, you come out thirsty. And then Jesus says, you are the salt. When people look at the Christian, they should thirst for the living water. Who is Christ? When they look at us, it should be, there's something about this person. Why are they so happy? Why are they so joyful? Why are they so forgiving? Why are they so easygoing? What is it about them? There's something that they have that I don't have. I want to know what that is. All right, this happened to you at work. Some of you, all right, at work, has any of your coworkers asked you for prayers? Because they know that you are a Christian? Because they know the type of worker you are? You know what happened there? When they come and say, can you pray for me? You know what happened there? You made a contact. There's someone, whatever they're going through in life, they have interest in the things of God. They have asked you for prayers. Right? That's a contact. That's a connection. But we have to learn how to take that connection further to the goal, right? The goal is the cross of Christ. Jesus also said that you are the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hidden, neither do men light a candle or put it under a basket, but on a lampstand, that it gives light to all who are in the house. Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father who is in heaven. Lima, how can I produce contacts? Be good. Be a good person. Be a good Christian. Be the light wherever God has planted you, wherever you go throughout this week, wherever you go, right? Whether it's the DMV office or whatever offices, whether it's in our crazy traffic, whether dealing with someone at the restaurant, wherever you go, be the light. Be the positive difference maker. I want us to understand something, right? Here in 2 Corinthians 3, verse 2 and 3, there's a principle rooted in this passage. Paul said to the Corinthians, now where were they? They were in the Las Vegas of their day. The church in Corinth was in the Vegas of the first century, the city of Corinth, right? It was a hub where the whole world came there for trade and whatnot, for pleasure, you name it. And they were located there. And this is what Paul said of them. He says, you are our epistles. As if God wrote a letter. You are a letter. He says, you are our epistles, known and read by all men. Clearly, you are an epistle of Christ, ministered by us, written not in ink or with ink, but by the Spirit of the living God, not on tablets of stone, but on tablets of the flesh, that is, of the heart. Before people would sit with us and read this with us, they read us. Before anyone breaks open the Bible wanting to know about Jesus, they will first know about the person who claims to follow Jesus. Now, if we are epistles that men read, here's the question. What are they reading? And how are they reading? All right. Is it a good read? Or is it a bad read? All right. So again, understanding this is about context. Now let's talk about places where you will find people who want to know about Jesus. If I was to end this sermon right now, I say everywhere. All right. But let's talk about some places as we see the scriptures highlight these things for us. In the place of assembly, where the church gathers, there is always someone's in the audience who is searching for the truth, who wants to know Christ. All right. Notice this, right? Acts chapter 17, verse 16 through 17. Now, while Paul waited for them at Athens, his spirit was provoked within him when he saw that the city was given over to idols. Therefore, he reasoned with them in the synagogue. So there's a place of assembly, right? And Paul went there to help people know about Jesus. There are people that come to our church building after life happens to them. And I think our church family is very good at this. But church, in some places where someone who needs Christ walks into the church building and leaves and no one talks to them. No one connects with them. And that person may never come again. Right? In the place of our assembly, look for that person. Sometimes they sit by themselves. Sometimes they are a friend of someone who's a member of the church. Sometimes they're family of a member of the church. When they come in, connect with them. Contact. Say hi. Get to know them. Be kind to them. All right. And we're good at this. We're very good at this. And so in the places of assembly, there will be people that want to know about Jesus. I'll spend a little bit more time on this one. Public places. Notice in that same passage, he went to the assembling place and then he went to the public place, right? Again, therefore he reasoned with them in a synagogue, with the Jews and with the Gentile worshipers, in the marketplace daily with those who happen to be there, all right? we have one of the world's famous malls, Ala Moana Center Mall. It's the world's largest open air mall. Right? Something to brag about, right? Thousands of people go through that mall. And not just that mall, our whole island, by the way, right? While you're out in the public, let's get practical. When you're in a restaurant and someone serves you, I want you to understand something, and you probably already know this, but if you don't know this, you can know it now, right? The people who are in the service industry, right, understand they deal with a lot of pressure. They deal with a lot of stress, and they have to manage people throughout their day. The last person they should deal with is you and me. The Christian in the restaurant must be the person that gives his waiter or waitress the pleasant experience of their life. If they make your order wrong, you are not the first one that day. All right? Just say, sorry, I didn't order this, if you can get it right. Right? Don't say, well, you got my order wrong. Right? Make their experience with you the most pleasant part of their day. They got your food wrong, wait for it. Right? Think of it this way. It's an opportunity to practice patience. Right? So I can wait an extra 15 minutes or 20 minutes for my food. I don't have to add stress to this person. When you leave, tip well. Tip well. I know it says 15%, 18%, 20%, and I know it gives you an amount. If you go to this place regularly, why don't you just give them more than your meal? Some of you are look at me, wait, what? We live in Hawaii. Yes, I have done that many occasions. Athena can tell you about it. I would give a lot to my waitress and my waiters because I have a goal. I want them to have a great experience with me. Right? When they come to serve you, call them by name. They usually have it on their name tag. Right? They have their name right there. Just say, oh, hey, Julie, thanks for serving us. Right? Something happens to the brain of a person when they hear their name. It's been studied. When you hear your name, something good happens. Of course, context determines that, right? But in that situation, when someone's serving you and you say their name, just examine, just look, see if it doesn't brighten their day up. Hi, Julie. Thanks for serving us. Now, what do you recommend on the menu? All right. In the places where there are long lines, right? Again, be a Christian, be a difference maker. Follow the rules. Follow the rules. All of these public places, they have rules that say, don't do this. Don't do it. Right? We should be upstanding citizens, right? We should follow the rules when there are rules, unless, of course, the rules try to tell us not to follow Christ or do something contrary to the will of God. Don't jaywalk. Right? Wait at the light. Cross where you're supposed to cross. I've done it before. I'm not standing up here saying that I'm perfect. I never jaywalk. I've done it before. Don't do it. Because people are watching you. Right? You know how awkward a conversation would be? You jaywalked and then you went to somebody and then you said, hey, you want to know about Jesus? That person says, you're a Christian? Yeah, I'm a Christian. Well, you just walk on the green light. You almost got hit by a car. Right? You just ruined the connection. All right. Out in the public places, there are people who are searching. You never know what goodness you do for someone will help them. I'm in the process of trying to win my barber's a soul to Christ. And this year you probably heard me say I'll save some money by cutting my own hair. Right? Cut my own hair doesn't look good. But anyways, I went back to my barber a month ago after a whole month of not cutting my hair with her, and she was like, "Where have you been?" I was like, "Well, I was cutting my own hair, but I really need a good cut right now." And then she cut my hair, and and um and not to toot my own horn, I gave her a $50 tip. I don't have money. I'm not rich. But that day I wanted to give her $50 tip because I wanted her to have a good day. You know what happened to her when I gave her that? She cried. I don't know what she was going through, but she bawled out. It was kind of causing a scene in the barber place, but she cried. I don't know what she went through. All I know is I did something good for this woman. I don't know what she went through. She cried, and I told her, "I'll see you next time." I just walked out because, it didn't just create a scene there. But I have every intention to go back and see her again and build my relationship with her and continue to do good with her. Because I have a goal. I want her to know Jesus. And if she's gonna cut my hair, she's gonna have the most pleasant experience with me being the customer. Right? So whatever you're dealing with when you're out publicly, when you're dealing with people, make sure that you will be the most pleasant part of their day. All right. Be good to them. It matters. There are people in your own family. All right. Family is always a tough one for me personally, too. I know for you. When I first became a Christian, um, there was a lot of soul searching. And there was a time in our lives where me and Athena, because we didn't know, where me and Athena were like, man, what about weddings? What about family weddings? What if they turn on a freak song? What if they drink alcohol and we're over there? And we talk about these things. And we're like, should we be in that setting? Church, to tell you right now, I regret not going to weddings for my family, for our family, that we decided not to go because we felt like, maybe it's not the setting for us because we didn't know. But now those relationships are in the recovery process because those are important days with our family. So something, if you already do this, good on you. But if not, go to every family event. Don't do what I did. This was what I did. This passage became the default for family members, meaning this passage became the passage where I justify not trying to build relationship with my family because I already know it's going to be hard, because I already know Jesus said that I will make enemies within my own household if I obey the gospel. Don't do that. All right. Yes, this will happen. Jesus said, do not think I came to bring peace on earth. I did not come to bring peace, but a sword. For I've come to set a man against his father, a daughter against her mother-in-law, and a daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. And a man's enemies will be those of his own household. Okay, I already tried once. Done. I already tried to talk to my family about the gospel. Didn't go well. I'm done. Because this passage says, go to every family event if you can, all right? Birthdays, weddings, You don't have to do what everybody else is doing, but you're being there for your family. Right? There are souls within our families. If we're honest, we have given up on them because we already tried and it didn't go well. Or it could be there are souls within our family we haven't even tried yet to talk to them about the gospel. It happens. In your neighborhood. I want to ask you something. What kind of neighbor are you? Yes, I mean the people that live around your neighborhood, the house next door, right? How do they view you? How do you view them? Right? Because it could be that that person next door is interested in the gospel. All right. Some of you have met Renita, and if you see her again when she comes, be a friend to her. Now Renita and I, we have not been on any first name basis, but every time I go to check my mail in the evening, she'd be walking her dog down. Now this is not planned. I'm not like, well, there goes, she's coming down with the dog. Let me go check the mail. I'm not doing that. It just so happened when I checked on the mail, she's walking her dog around this time. And I always say hi and bye. That's it. That's it. Nothing. Hi and bye. She started coming because we went door knocking in our neighborhood. Someone from our VBS group knocked on her house right down the road from here. And she started coming to the city. She was here last afternoon. Right? We won't have the contact if we don't contact. Right? There are no contacts without contact. We have to reach people in the neighborhood. In the first century, that's what they did. Notice, here's one example. Daily in the temple, that's every day in the temple, and in every house, they did not cease teaching and preaching Jesus as the Christ. They went from house to house, talking about Jesus. Last but not least, social media. Social media is amoral. You don't need to be on social media to reach souls. Okay? For our older generation, you don't have to have Facebook or, just refer to the previous points we already talked about. All right? But church, we make a big mistake if we don't have a presence online. There are more than 2 billion people on social media. Right? That's a quarter of the world's population, I think. That's a lot of people. Right? And while they're out in the public, sometimes they're on social media. I mean, drive by a bus stop and see what people are doing. They're doing this. They're doing that. I'm going to pay a Facebook ad to put the gospel on their Facebook news feed. Costs about $40 to reach 1,000 people on this island. That's what we do. $40, 1,000 people. That's good range, right? We ought to pay thousands of dollars, right? I would say God has all the money, right? He just needs open hands who will use it for his kingdom, right? Who will do the work. On social media is a great opportunity. Souls are being led to Christ. Now, you don't baptize people through a Facebook post. But this lesson is about what? Contact. It's not about baptizing. It's about knowing people. Listen to this. Paul said this. Meanwhile, praying also for us that God would open to us a door for the word. You know what social media is? A door. It's a door for the word. I'm hearing news of people being baptized elsewhere in the world because someone took few seconds to click share on a Bible video on their page. That's all it took. A few seconds. Click, share. It's a post. Someone across the world reads it. They look for the truth and they are baptized. Take, for example, Rod Selman, one of my friends. He works for the House to House, Heart to Heart School of Evangelism. Rod, for many years, he was teaching English in Israel. He actually lived in one of the places where the near in the area where the bomb struck when Hamas attacked Israel. And thank God he wasn't there when it happened. He was home with his family. Anyways, someone in the island of Cyprus was wanting to obey the gospel, right? There's a church now in Cyprus because someone there saw a social media post of the gospel of Jesus Christ, and they did a self-study through the videos and wanted to be baptized. My friend Rod, he was back in Israel at the time, flew to Cyprus, found the man, baptized him, and now there's a congregation there. Right? All because someone just shared information on social media. Now, we need help with this from our congregation. I'm a Facebook guy. That's it. Some of you know IG. Some of you know TikTok. Some of you know all these other avenues for the word through which many people have come to Christ if it wasn't for this door of opportunity. Right? So let's be out there remembering what Jesus said. There are people looking. Right? There are people interested. Jesus said that here. Do you not say there are still 4 months and then comes the harvest? Behold, I say to you, lift up your eyes and look at the fields. They are already white for the harvest. There are souls literally everywhere. Be the light. Be responsible for the good where you are, at your workplace, out in the public, within your family. That's a major one too. One that I would in my lesson I approached it for the preacher because it's one that I have to focus on. With family, your children. All right. There's no good in being the preacher who wins all these souls to Christ and then his own family are lost. There's no good in that. All right. Or it doesn't just apply to preachers, all of us. Right. What good is it to try and win some souls if we're not winning our children's souls to Christ? All right. You've been kind to listen. Have you been baptized? The Bible says this, or do you not know, as many of us as were baptized into Christ, were baptized into his death? Baptism unites us with the death of Jesus Christ. Therefore, we were buried with him. We buried the old person in baptism, through baptism into death, that just as Christ was raised from the dead, when you come out of the waters of baptism, you are raised with Christ. Just as Christ was raised from the dead by the glory of the Father, even so we should also walk in newness of life. Coming out of baptism, you are a new person, a new creature. 2 Corinthians 5:17. If anyone is in Christ, he is a new creation. Behold, the old things have passed away; all things have become new. For if we have been united in the likeness of his death, certainly also be in the likeness of his resurrection. If you need encouragement for prayers, if you need to obey the gospel through baptism, whatever that need may be, we're going to stand and sing a song of encouragement. Make it known as we we'll sit and sing, so everybody can see the board.